guys, so sorry for my so normally looking face today and all that stuff, and sorry for the background and everything. I mean, there's literally no background. Okay, anyway, I'm going to work in an hour or so, and the sad life of a goth is that you don't get to be goth when you go to work. You just gotta deal with it. So I'm looking normal today. I said I wasn't going to do any more series videos, but I lied, so... Oh, I did not lie, I just didn't realize I'm actually gonna be talking about this topic. So, the topic for today, I think it's gonna be pretty quick, is therapy. Now, I wanna be scarce at the beginning. I will not force anyone to go to therapy, and I don't believe that a video is going to make someone want to go to therapy if they need it. But I know that there are a lot of people out there who need help, who want to go to therapy, but they're scared because of what other people might think or because of what they've heard. And I am here not as much to help you, because I don't believe that I can help you, and not as much to convince you that you should go, but to tell you why most people will either judge you for it, if that's what you're scared about, or why all the rumors that you've heard are so bad. So, as most of you know, I'm a neuropsychology student, but what you might not have known is the first year was psychology in general, and then since the second year we started the specialization thing. Usually I think you do that after 3 years, but we started off since the beginning because I'm studying neuropsychology, not just psychology. And so I met a lot of people who are studying to be psychotherapists, and now if you're one of those people, this isn't a diss on you. Please don't take it that way. And also, if you're studying to be a psychotherapist, this isn't a diss on you as well. I'm not talking about literally everyone, okay? I want to get that out of the way. I'm talking about some people. And, well, maybe let's just start with the reason why a lot of people go to study psychology, and especially psychotherapy, in the first place. Number one, it's very easy. Now, don't get me wrong, in my opinion, clinical psychology, which often leads to psychotherapy, I mean, people after clinical psychology often tend to go into psychotherapy, that's what I'm talking about. In my opinion, it's one of the most interesting branches of psychology, apart from neuropsychology, and if I wasn't on neuro, I'd probably be studying that, because it is damn interesting in my opinion. But it's also one of the easiest ones. So when it comes to neuropsychology, well, it's tough because it's basically studying the brain. There's just so many shit about the brain that you've got to remember. There's so many, functions, and you've got this whole brain that literally every place in the brain looks the same, and you gotta remember everything about it, and it's just very hard because biology and shit. And the social psychology, I mean, I don't know how it is in English because I don't study in English, so I'm just kind of deciding on the go how it probably sounds, I don't know. Well, social psychology, something like that, not to be mistaken with sociology, it's not the same. And that technically could be easier, but at least in my university, when we had subjects connected to social psychology, it was just such a mess, and there's so much things that just don't make absolute any sense, that to me that is pretty hard, because it just doesn't make any sense to me. Sorry, I'm not meaning to hate on anyone right now. So psychotherapy is one of the easiest ones, in my opinion. It's also one of the most interesting ones, but it's also pretty easy, and I'm not the only person who thinks so. So a lot of people study that because they think it's easy. And the other reason why people go to study psychotherapy is that they don't have any other idea what to do. They never thought whether they would make good psychotherapists. Like, that's one of the reasons why I'm not a psychotherapist, apart from the fact that I just love brains. I know I wouldn't be a good psychotherapist. I am very asocial. I don't know how to deal with people. I can't deal with people. I'm really not good with people, and I'd make a very lousy psychotherapist. So I'm not gonna be a psychotherapist. But most people don't think that way. Most people study psychotherapy anyway, and become psychotherapists, and it doesn't matter whether they actually can do the job or not most of the time. Now, I'm talking about the country I live in. I don't know how it is in the rest of the world. I don't know how it is in the US. I know that in the US and in England there are some more strict rules. In my country there are none. Literally no rules. I don't think you even have to finish psychology to be a psychotherapist where I live. That kind of sucks. And of course then there are those people who study psychology only to help themselves with their own problems, which is fine. Unless after that you still haven't helped yourself with your problems and decide to help others. In which case that's a very shitty idea, because if you can't help yourself, you're sure as hell not gonna help others. Let's be honest. I mean, most of the time anyway. Those are the types of people that usually go to study psychology and end up being psychotherapists. So that might also tell you why, because the thing that I hear about the most from my friends is, oh, I would go to therapy, but I've been to like 6 fucking therapists and they were all shit. And to be honest, I believe them. I believe that those 6 psychotherapists they went to were shit. I went to one in my life and she was good, so I was lucky, but most of my friends weren't so lucky. I think I have only 1 or 2 friends who went to a psychotherapist that actually was good and it wasn't shit. So the first reason is that most people that become psychotherapists really shouldn't be them, because they don't have certain abilities. They don't have empathy, or they just don't really know how to do their job, or are just not interested in doing their job properly, so they don't give a fuck. They just care about the money, and it's a job like any job. Another thing is that, and now, God, I hope I didn't get too much hate for this, but if you're a student, you will know what I mean. I mean, at uni. Most of the time, if you're a student at uni, you don't really end up learning as in learning. Most of the time, you end up partying and not giving a shit. Now, there were people the first year that I haven't seen all year on one single lecture. And now Sean and I were gonna say, hey, but Vicky, some of those people might be poor and need to work. And then I say, yes, you were right. But I think I had 400 people on my year, and only 50 of them, around something like that, actually came to lectures. And I didn't think that 150 people would work, especially since, I mean, come on. Most students our age are lazy. I mean, like at university, are lazy and they don't really care that much. They just want to finish uni and get it over with. And it's no different with psychology. There are those students on occasion who won't come to lectures and actually will learn at home and will get the exams right and will actually know something. But then there are those students who don't come to lectures, don't learn anything, barely pass the exams, and then they become psychotherapists. And now you can say, oh, but Vicky, just because you didn't learn at uni doesn't mean you're not competent to do a job. Well, let me tell you one thing. First of all, if you're a doctor, would you, if you had a choice to go to a doctor that actually listened and went to lectures and actually knows what the fuck they're doing, and a doctor who didn't. Sorry guys, the camera just died, so I'm just gonna try and finish this off really quickly. So I think I was back at the point where I meant that if you had a choice between going to a doctor that studied well and had good grades and listened during lectures and all that shit, and a doctor who barely passed their exams, you'd probably choose the one who actually won't kill you. And I know that being a psychotherapist isn't as important as being a doctor to most people. You still are responsible for other people's lives, and in situations where you don't listen to what you should be doing and decide that, oh, I'm gonna be a psychotherapist on my own rules, yeah, you're not really gonna do that great of a job. And since, well, I can just see as a psychology student what people do. They decide to party instead of learn and just barely scrape by on their exams, and it's shit. And then I get my friends telling me that they won't go to a psychotherapist for help because they've been to a few and they're all shit, and this is kind of what it turns out to be. So, but what I wanted to say is that, God, sorry, I don't have a setup or anything, so I'm just wibbly wobbly. Sorry about that. Anyway, don't be scared. Some psychotherapists are actually good. They will help you. They're not all shit. okay? No matter what you've heard, some of them are good and some of them will help you. You just won't always, the first one you go to won't always be the best. That's kind of my point. But don't give up just because you've heard that they're shit, or don't give up just because you went to 2 or 3 and they were shit. Maybe you'll find one that will actually help you and will be good. Also, kids, stay in school, and if you decide to go to uni where your job involves taking care of other people's health, mental or physical, please actually learn and don't be shit, okay? Just saying. Thank you for watching. Like, comment something nice, take care of yourself and your mental health, subscribe to my other face, and hope to see you next time. Bye. Mwah.